This is Making Sense of Life and Reality. There is a specific kind of honesty in lifting weights. The bar does not lie to you. Does the discipline of the physical world make it easier to deal with the complexities of your professional life?
That's a heavy question. I think the discipline of showing up for myself in the different areas of fitness is teaching me to show up in other side of life. In that, if I can incur a certain amount of time cost, a certain amount of resource cost, and honestly a certain amount of pain, because fitness does come with that. If I can incur willingly because I believe that the combination of these three is going to give me this result, why can't I incur a fraction of that cost to receive money or to receive connections? If you're showing up really well on this other side, it's inconsistent for you not to show up in. If I can carve 1.5 hours of my day where the people who can actually call my phone during that time are very, very limited because I want to focus on, say, the gym, why can't I carve a similar amount of time at work or for my passion? It's this saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So you find something that you love to improve your discipline, and then you multiply that or you apply that to your other areas of life.
For sure. And you can say you've seen that it's evident in your life before you started the gymming part, and
It's
now
absolutely. I feel like I'm a bit more focused.
Awesome.
I am a bit more willing to not accept excuses from myself. Like, hey bro, how did you push here and then you're the same person who's refusing to push here? You know, if you're, how comes you're willing to be patient with yourself to take X number of years, X number of months to get here, but then you're punishing yourself because you didn't achieve the results fast enough? Yeah. I mean, you question, because it's the same person. It's still you, but then you're applying yourself differently. Why? And asking myself questions like those is helping how I show up in other areas of my life.
For sure. Yeah. That's amazing. Just do the hard thing. You'll be able. This is like applied knowledge.
Yes.
You got this from a very different place, but you're like, with even career changes and stuff. And then you wonder, oh, how is this person doing this thing so well? No, hey, this person has in their like third previous life or previous thing they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They had this skill they got from there, and now that skill is what is, it's just being sprinkled in this issue right now, and you're like, that person is doing the thing so.
And you see that even with some of the people that you respect, or I respect rather. There are some leaders in corporate, ukiangalia huyu mtu, they have a hobby on the side, a sport, and they do it with dedication. There's some managers in this Nairobi of ours who run marathons properly, and you can clearly see that they're disciplined here and they're disciplined here, and there's that admiration. You can see that it's the same principle, they're just applying it here during the day and applying it here in the
evening. So I'd say for your child, or for somebody who doesn't know what life is, this would be those things you'd be, you see, you need I want you to do this sport and dedicate yourself here, because the discipline that you get here
is what you can use to apply here.
It will be very easy for you to apply this other side.
Here's the thing, you need how I look at it is, you need a mental blueprint. You need a map where there is effort and result, and it doesn't matter where you get that map from, whether it's drawing, whether it's rapping, whether it's running, whether it's lifting, as long as at the end of the day your mind can sit with you and ujiambie, this amount of effort can lead to results. Then once you have that mental blueprint, you're just applying it in different contexts. So my question to myself would be, what is that thing that gives you the blueprint? For me, it could be lifting and running. For someone else, could be drawing. Could be anything. Pick whatever you want. Discover. You may not get it in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tries, but discover it. Exactly. But again, also you can hit this, be good at it. Use that formula, as you said. Put effort, you see the results. Hit that one. So you find somebody who plays basketball, plays football, plays rugby, Yes, because they have a clear map between effort, result. They have a good relationship with failure, and that cross applies.
Have a good relationship with failure.
Yes.
That's a nice point. Simple.
Let me come on. Do you like football?
Yes.
Look at the difference between shots taken, shots on target, and goals scored. Unaweza kuta mechi iko na 17 shots of targets, 2 goals.
Yeah.
But for you to achieve those 2 goals, you needed 17 shots on target.
Amazing.
And it's the same thing with job applications. For you to get that one job, you may apply 100. For you to get that one client, you've pitched to 50. For you, there's that effort, and then there's a bit of loss, and then there's
results.
Yes.
And just the timeline of sometimes these things take time.
Yes.
But you'll get there. It'll take time, but you'll get there.
And once you do, it's easier to replicate.
Apply it again and again and again.
Because now you move again back to the whole system conversation. You moved from no system to now system. Then you've moved from effectiveness to efficiency. We know we can do this. Now we're trying to do it better. We're trying to do it cheaper. We're trying to do it faster. Or we're trying to do it with people. Yes.
With less, because again, definitely. But again, it's that the system. These things take time. But again, we are here. We can make it better. So let's just take that formula. Let's use it out there. And man, all the best, man. Yeah, this is why we're doing this, for people to know how to word it out. You know, sometimes you hear somebody else say it, and you're like, yeah, that is what I've been saying. But you've said it. You've said what I've been saying.
Yes.
Or that's what I've been feeling, and if I was to say it, I'll have just said it more or less, whatever you say. As in, like, I don't have to say anything, you said it already. And from there, it's confirmation. Now you're out to the world to do your amazingness.
Absolutely.
Sure. It strikes me that your passion for justice and your passion for fitness both require a high level of accountability. Do you think our modern reality is suffering because we've moved away from that kind of raw personal responsibility?
Yes and no. Let's focus on the yes. I think beyond that need for more accountability, we like doing what people at work call passing the baby. For example, I will drop this wrapper here because kesho kuna msee wa Kanjo atakuja atachukua. Na msee wa Kanjo anaweza kuja hapo hivyo aseme Mr. Okota hiju kuna msee wa shift here baadaye ataokota. So that the problem is being passed down along because no one wants to take action.
For sure.
I am not willing to stand up against bad leadership because in 2027 Kenyans are going to stand up and vote. You get the gist.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, like,
I am going to overlap, nitoke kwa traffic nifike home, nyote mtakuja baadaye mtakuta traffic imeisha. And we do that a lot.
And then as you're about to get your car out to pass the traffic, you're hit, and then now you're staying stuck there.
Or what still you might still actually get away with it, but you see, once we do that at a scale, we're building a broken system.
Oh, but again, I see now with that system, and NTSA has brought this other fine thing where you're being.
I saw that, and I get the spirit of it, but then also there was that side of you're already judged and punished without an audience. There's that lack of due process. It is alleged that Michael oversped by this much, but where do we get to hear from Michael to actually confirm these things? So you can see that, and maybe what we need to consider is not an automated fine system. It is a fine system that kind of is an in-between. So karawa mekushika ukona umespeed by this much. There's a speed gun, of course, kuna hiyo ninio. Then you have a fine that's going to be paid directly, and it's predetermined. That way there's no need for kutoa kitu kidogo. So you can still go contest that fine kwa judge, lakini hii njia yenye hii pesa itaenda is very very clear. You get?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a balance between what do we need to do that's fully automated versus what will require the audience of a court. If we can find that balance, then maybe we'll get ahead. Again, that's just my opinion.
For sure. But again, these are those gaps. At least it's easy to identify the gap, knowing there's a gap, and then now it's easy now to even find ways of how to deal with the gap.
But you see, some of the gaps are very, very preventable. So, for example, if we're having things like unroadworthy vehicles, we already have a clear timeline as to when PSVs, for example, are supposed to go for inspection. But do we actually adhere to that timeline? A. B. Do we actually adhere to inspection? If kama unapandanga matatu, you know that the timeline and inspection is a paper thing. How it applies in real life is entirely different. Seriously, I challenge you to count the number of matatus you've been on that have a working speedometer. Inasema tunasonga 60, tunasonga 40.
Sure.
Or a working seatbelt, or working lights indicator. And you see, these are basics. And ideally, these are things that should be flagged from time to time, a couple of times in a year, because there's a mandatory inspection for PSVs from time to time.
For sure.
Before we even get to a point that we need a digital system that needs to flag a matatu driver because the vehicle is unroadworthy. Have we used what we have? Check shida kaizo.
No. You get more debt to bring in more money to do something, and just with the explanation of buying all the equipment, and then you're like, hey, maybe podcasting is not my thing. Now you have a whole government now with a new system, and then you're like, oh shit.
Was the gap systemic to begin with? Because you see, if you bring a new system, it implies that the gap is purely systemic. Everything else works except a system. If you bring funding, it means everything else worked. Tulikuwa tunakosa ni resources to implement. If you bring in a committee, means everything else works. Just the human expertise is what is missing. But is that the case?
Oh, hey man, but now what do you find out? All this, funding is a problem, the committee is a problem, now this is a problem. Now you're saying to solve this is a whole big.
Oh, but then you solve pole.
One by one.
You needed a podcast. Your priority was audio.
Yeah.
So solve audio. And then once you had audio, you're like, check it. I want to scale, I want to have TikToks and stuff. Then you bring video. And then after we introduce video, like, you know what? I want to go higher. I want every guest and me as a host to have my camera. Then you introduce another one. And then you're like, you know what? I want one of the angles to be the two of us. Then you introduce another camera. Then you have 3 shots. And. But you see, you couldn't and you shouldn't have brought all that in one swing. It's unless, of course, you're very, very sure. And I would respect you for that.
Damn. So I'm just at the point of just to survive this life, just to see more days of this life, just to have a better quality of life in this life is the part of being able to make good business. With whatever you put in, it has to make something for you to be able to use that something in a different place. And with that now is looking at all the systems that we're talking about, personal, institutional, even country-wise now, is may we get to the point where we can make less losses, less, and the journey is so long. I really want for people to be able to move progressively in this journey, but again, we're finding ourselves 5 steps forward, 3 steps back, or even 4 steps back. We just like, we did all this just for this. You could have, tungekuwa tumeachana nayo, you could have still be having the energy of the 5 steps being held towards a better course. Now you can now do the 5 steps. By the time even you're doing the second, the third, it's so much greater compared to a different course that we took 5 steps and you get 4 steps back and you're like, yo, I really want the part where we can make sense of the right decision, the right direction to go, the right decisions, just the right way, so that we can, hey man, be better, because life is just rough for real. As in, when you look at other stuff, they hold us back until your point of, how is this thing making sense to you, for you thinking this is what is going to sustain us to continue. So bigger than personal part, and actually going towards an election year, is even for the politicians themselves, can they just be better? I know it's hard, but come what may, it's, I believe every human being has that part of wanting better. Every human being.
Yeah, but you see, better is very linear. Better lacks context. Put it this way.
Hit me that.
Better money is moving from, say, 500,000 to 1 million. But then also stealing 500,000 to 1 million is also better.
Oh.
Better is just where.
Oh no, I'm not asking you to be a better thief. I'm not asking you to be a better liar. I'm not asking you to be a better bad energy, baby. Not better that. Better, and because again, even if you say that, even if you're better, you become a better liar. That means your consequences are becoming better too.
No, and that's the thing. I am all for better, but then we need to make sure that we're improving the right things.
Okay.
And as sometimes I struggle with hearing young people our age say, you know what, if I was in those shoes, at maybe an Ngeiba. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to drive a GLC? Who doesn't want to nani atake kuwa next class? And you can see that maybe the difference between the populace and the politician is purely opportunities, not value.
Ish, because even with that, I usually say, by the time you're saying you want that S class, do you think you can, as in just the sustainability of that? I know there's a wish of having it, but again, just the normal day-to-day of sustaining it. How much further, how much better is it now? Even when you look at better, that's actually when you say you have to contextualize.
You have to, and you see, there are many important questions we need to ask ourselves. First of all, what is wealth? Two, what is our relationship with money? What does money mean to us? Three, what are our indicators of wealth? Na hizo ni maswali zote zenye tunafaa kujiuliza. So, for example, one of the indicators of wealth used in Kenya is having a car. Okay. Because ka uko na gari, people say that you're better than mse mwenye hana. And then of course you start classing the cars based on price, based on whether it's Japanese or German, and but then you come to look at it, it's like, do we actually, is having a car in Kenya a measure of wealth, or is it a measure of our capacity to running away from the problems of a poor public transport system? Because if we did have a functioning public transport system, then all of a sudden maybe kukuwa na gari ama kutokuwa na gari haingekuwa big conversation starter. Bado unaweza toka hapa hivi na moti na mimi nitoke vile nitatoka, na difference quicker 5 minutes.
For sure.
So our systemic failures are distorting our perceptions of wealth.
Yes.
Because switch context, you go to mostly countries in the Scandinavian, having a car is not a big plus because there's a proper working public transport system that's very reliable and it's very predictable. Hey, najua naweza toka hapa hivi 212 nifike town 219, si 220, there's that, such that I can choose to drive myself, but it's a luxury. Yeah. Here, if you don't have a car, you are thinking, mazee matzaronga zinaweza nicheza, ama kuna vile madereva wame strike, ama imata ipitiangi kwangu. You see things like that.
Yeah.
So some of our measures of wealth are purely because of systemic issues, purely, and nothing else.
When you say that, I've imagined the stories of The people who give the stories and they're like, 5 years ago, if you ask me where would it be, I cannot envision it being here. As in so much past. Even whatever I was thinking was just here.
Yes.
Yet you're here. And with that now comes with the part of the systems. I'm imagining even with, if you've come from this level of systems, can you imagine you get to this other level? And when you get to this level, definitely what was working on this level is working very differently from this level.
Yes, yes.
So now it advances more. It goes to this level. And definitely from this level, whatever was working this level is not what was working from this level. So even it's really hard for you to say, for us to envision what better place we could be at. We could be at even way much better place.
True.
Because we cannot even imagine, because I bet even if you're on a high level, there's still a higher level. One of the a video of this of making sense of life and reality, and it is to be better, to do better, and when you do better, now you can be better, and actually even comes from a place of, if bad can become good, good can become better.
Absolutely.
And better can become the best, and still the best can get better and better. By the time you're talking about even like cars, I've always been that person of wondering why don't we have our African cars running around, or with the mechanics that we know, the great crazy stuff they do to cars. A car was really wrecked and you see it be built and you're looking at it, you're like, really? You buy all this new stuff and you're like, I could have never seen the potential of this car coming this far. So now I really hope and push for ever having like a Kenyan car. It's BMW. This is our Kenyan thing, because again, we have the capability of that.
I mean, Morocco has their cars, and they're damn expensive. Morocco. You talk about restorations. I think we have guys in Kenya who do that. Mostly on Twitter, I've seen people restore old Corollas. I've seen guys in TZ work really well on Defenders and stuff. But then you see, again, do we have a baseline that promotes that? And by baseline, I mean like a systemic baseline. For example, to build a car requires a certain level of innovativeness. From a skills point of view, you need an education that promotes sciences and grows engineering. This is from high school, your prerequisites, your physics, your chemistry, into either technical universities, technical colleges, or universities and then you need people who can put the capital up front, bearing a reasonable amount of risk, operating within a reasonable tax environment for it to make sense for them to hire the people that you educated in. Kenya does not have the most predictable operating environment, especially from a tax point of view. The education we have, JKUAT's brilliant people, so does UN, but then you'd hear of great Kenyan engineers in other countries, not in Kenya, simply because we lack some of those things that could sustain enterprise.
Okay.
For sure. You get my point. So you'd find, I mean, we know of Kenyans. We had a Kenya being a big shot in Tesla. We've got multiple Kenyans in Volkswagen, but not here. But simply because there are some tweaks we need to make in the system. That way, the great minds that we produce from our education can actually be housed here.
Yeah,
and it's everything from how easy is it to open and sustain business in Kenya.
And I think that's even the biggest thing. I think business education should be like mandatory too, because and that I think that's why I was going with the point of if you don't work, you don't eat. Is now when doing business should be something so clear, something so aware that everybody knows where to put in their value and how to get returns from it. And with that, I think now it can grow to such kind of levels of
But that needs
Wago.
to be very predictable. Nanunua banana 2 bob Muthurwa, nauza 10 bob. Imagine ni 8 bob. Bob ni ya transi from Muthurwa to ST. Bob mbili ni ya KRA. Bob moja ni ya you need to be able to predict
exactly.
that.
Now
Such that you know if I sell 2 bananas, I make a profit of 4 bob. 3, 8, and then you can say that if I do it in 5 years, I can. It needs to be very predictable.
And I'd love for everybody to know how to be able to do that.
But the system has to be able to sustain that. If you look at our system, for example, we've just within the past 6 years, kuna story ya minimum tax imekuja, that changes predictability. Kuna story tumekaa hivi kidogo, tume changed our deductions. We've changed NSSF, but then we also changed NHIF. And then right now we keep on that interferes with ile projection you make 5 years ago, because
predictions may change.
and that's not good for investor confidence, because ule msee sasa mwenye alikupea thao fanye biashara ya mandizi haizi predict chenye atapata juu wewe huwezi predict venye unafanya juu gava imechange game.
Hey, that's why making sense is crucial.
It's crazy stuff, man.
You have to
crazy stuff.
You have to make sense, even just to move forward, just for less pain, for more predictability of even just your own life. And I think even life has that thing of you might have it today, you might not have it tomorrow.
And check life ukwaga hivyo, but kunafaa kuwa na ile baseline ya vitu zenye tunaweza sema hizi hazichangingi, alafu saa hizi zingine hizi vitu zingine ni mambo za God.
For sure.
Unacheki.
For sure.
Yes.
You've hit me with the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity.
But you see, things like taxes should not be things that God should give you the courage to accept. It's just the discernment to understand. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I always believe that part of life should be boringly predictable, and then this other part of life is the one that's dynamic. Your baseline unajua, from in case you fall down, you break your leg right now, an ambulance is going to take X number of minutes to Kenyatta, where you will require this amount of money for consultation, and then x-rays. This, it's supposed to be like that, and it's supposed to apply to you, everyone else in Nairobi. That's supposed to be the baseline of, say, healthcare. Alafu sasa ukitaka kucheki Mbosso ukitibiwa ndio uende Aga Khan. Lakini ule msee mwenye hana kabisa bado anaweza ingia KNH na atoke na asidedi. Ule msee mwenye ako nayo ndio anaweza cheki Netflix akitibiwa, anaweza pata msee ana massage mgongo akitibiwa, but none of you dies. Education, kila msee, the guy who goes to the cheapest school will still have a desk, and they would still have a textbook and an exercise book. And then ule sasa mwenye anataka kuwa na trips za Dubai na trips za Lamu ndio apeleke mtoto wake this school. Lakini wote they have that basic amount of knowledge. It has to be that. If all of us want to move from Westi to Kangemi, we will take roughly 20 minutes. If you want to do 17, then you can take an Uber. But worst case scenario for all of us is 20 minutes. If you want to do better, then that is where money comes. Money is making things more comfortable. It doesn't make them work. But where we are right now, money is making things work.
Making sense of life and reality.
It's
That is
stuff,
crazy.
It's crazy stuff.
As a podcast strategy consultant, you help people take the mess of their thoughts and turn them into a structured narrative. When someone is struggling to make sense of their life or their brand, what is the first lie they usually need to stop telling themselves?
I can't do it. Again, we sometimes we overthink ourselves out of what we can do, and we do that by complicating things. Look, I know all of us want our brands and want our podcast to sky kama za Chris William. Ni sote tunataka kukakaja isheti. It's good. It's a good aspiration, man. That man does great work.
For sure.
But we need to start implementing where we are right now. And currently, where we are right now, we're only available on Saturday and Sunday, and we have resource X, Y, and Z, and this is enough to start, and we shall move.
For sure.
So the biggest lie is people feel like they don't have enough to start. And that's BS. It's BS.
You must be a Nike fan when you say, just do it.
I see what you did right there.
Oh,
My
for
favorite
sure.
running shoe is definitely a Nike, for sure.
For sure. No, it's the tagline, and even with the brands is. I usually love that part of just do it. Yeah, you're like, okay.
Funny
Because like,
boys.
in the doing it's where it's the planting. It's visible. It's you say it with the fitness thing. You won't see it in 1 month. You won't see it in 2 months. But just do it. Just do it. Do it. 6 months.
And
1 year.
You can see that there's movement.
Exactly. So, Ash. So, stop telling yourself the lie of I can't do it. You just need dedication.
With what you have. Forget. Don't. I mean, hey, if you can afford whatever, sure. But chenye uko nacho, like Apple, that's enough to start.
Yeah, I think even when you say that, I've felt the impact of models and of prototypes and of the testing. Just the testing. You're like, it works. That is, you need that to move to the next level.
You do.
I think I've spoken to. I have spoken to a guy who's an angel investor, and they always go back to that point. What do you have right now? You need to start with what you have.
Yes.
And from that point, it's easy enough for them to say, this has worked. I can come in at this point. Or you need to add just this other thing for now.
And you see, investors don't start your business. They either improve it or they scale it. Starting is on you.
Thank you for saying
it's like
that.
we're reaching 100 people in Nairobi. Okay, so let's make that 10,000 by multiplying what you have. And you can't multiply zero.
No, even if you multiply zero, it's still zero.
Thank you.
That doesn't make sense. Fika home. So this is a quick fire round.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're going to ask you 5 questions, no overthinking. Just the first thing that hits your gut. You ready?
Yep.
Morning routine or late night grind?
Morning, definitely.
What is the most underrated virtue in
2026? Consistency.
Awesome.
Consistency.
Squats or deadlifts for mental clarity?
Oh, mental clarity has to be a run.
Yeah.
Go touch some grass.
A book every Kenyan interested in justice must read?
That's a hard one. I think I'll go to one of my favorite books. This is Women at Point Zero by Nawal El-Saadawi. It's not Kenyan, it's Egyptian, but it brings in that aspect of looking at how the interactions between power and poverty and sometimes gender can make it a messy justice issue. And I think the book starts with a woman who is just going to jail for slapping the prince, and you later realize that this woman is actually a sex worker and the prince was in the business of obtaining. And then you get to the background of how they got into sex work, and you see just how much injustice could corner a person into making very, very unpopular decisions.
Sure.
And looking at that makes you give grace to some of the people that you might not agree with what they do. It's like, listen, I wouldn't do this, but I understand how you got here, and maybe if we fixed that, less people would get to where you're getting.
What do you think you take this part of seeing the systemic issues? Because at least I can say you look like you're very aware about, let's stop looking at this. What is behind that? What made that happen? And then at the end of it all, you're like, man, you can only give grace, and let's work a way of how to deal with that, maybe we won't get to this point.
Unfortunately, with systems start and end as human beings, in the sense of usually we create systems to solve a human problem, and then the results of that system affect people in a very, very human way. So for example, you want more people to be educated, so you kibaki FPE, sawa. Then all of a sudden, that person who could not afford school fees can now go to school, and then they have a better life, they can make money, and they remove their family out of poverty.
For sure.
The results are very human. It starts human. Hapa katikati ndo si upotea.
They need to stay focused.
Yeah. Let me give you a bad example. You have a system where access to justice requires a bit of money, and I'm not talking about bribe. Forget that. I'm just talking about being able to afford things like bail. Nakuta kuna msee amekainda miaka 3 jua kwa na 5 ya kumtoa bail arudi kwa familia yake, jua kwa afanyie kesi nje akitafutia wase wake. You understand? So there's a kid somewhere whose father is not there because they couldn't afford 5k or 3k.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
It's a systemic problem that has a very human effect. I think those are some of the things that I see in my line of work. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm telling you, seeing perspective, it's really very limited to where you're standing, and you can only see it when you're standing there.
Mm-hmm.
In one word, what is the secret to a meaningful reality?
You assume I have a meaningful reality.
Oh.
That's great.
But definitely, I know you still found some meaning in stuff.
I'm trying to figure this out. I think.
But also saying that is dope. And then, like, one of my, I was calling somebody following up to having their interview, and from whatever I knew them, what they were doing, they were not doing that anymore. And I was like, no pressure. What are you doing now?
Mm-hmm.
You can speak about that. And I'm like, he was like, that's a very good question that I'm also trying to figure out.
Yes.
I was like, life is not about having figured out stuff, but I think I'm getting to the place of making sense of, like, life is just a continuous thing of figuring out stuff.
It is, and I think one of the things that, ask me that question again. I think I might have an answer.
For sure. In one word, what is the secret to a meaningful reality?
Honesty, especially being honest to yourself. If I were to go deep, I would say being honest to yourself with what you cannot do. As a young person, what you cannot afford. There's no shame in saying, this I know, and look, this I don't know, or this I can do, this I can't do. This I can afford right now, and this one I can't afford.
Honesty.
Upfront.
Awesome. Oh yeah, you'll get out of a lot of bullshit if you're just honest
to yourself. Yeah. As a young man, sometimes that need to want to belong or want to display trumps personal honesty, and you pay a very expensive price.
And I just appreciate every time I do this, because, man, I say this is for my audience, and at times I'm like, this is for me. But again, for what is good for me, I know it's good for somebody else. Absolutely. So now that's how it comes. Now the whole thing of how me and my audience and what we all are doing here. Yeah, for sure. It's been an absolute masterclass in alignment, in dedication, in focus, in looking at the system differently, in understanding timelines are not usually just that short, in your perspective today, ideally. Thank you for showing us that justice isn't just something that happens in a courtroom. It's something we build in the gym, in our words, and in our integrity. Where can the listeners find you if they need their podcast strategy fixed or their perspective shifted?
Oof. Name is Ali Gakweli,Ally Gakweli. That's my professional name. So if you search that, you should get my LinkedIn and should lead you directly to me. For my content, fitness, and everything else, I work with Sauti on TikTok, Sauti on Instagram.
Awesome.
I like to separate my work and life, so hence the different names.
I know you have, when you have to have kamkutano with yourself. Kwani kamkutano is with who? Is with you one side, with the other you, with the other you, with the other you, and now you're all in the meeting in the business of you. So even with this, I appreciate the part of yes, this is the you, Ali Gakweli.
Yes.
And there's Sauti on the other side, and yeah, you can separate them as much as you want, and you still show up and give your 100. So
And what's crazy is there's some people who know Ali as Ali, and there's some people who know Sauti as Sauti, and they wouldn't put those two people together, and that's okay. It's crazy.
and that's the thing you're talking about. When can you imagine the friend who knows Ali and the friend who knows Sauti, and they'll be talking like, "Hey, mi najua umse."
Umse anakuga tu umse ni gym na kukimbia, and then this other person knows a very very professional side,
And it's all one person.
and it's all one person. Yeah.
So man, to celebrating the gift of life, for you to do everything that you need to do and are able to do, and for you to accept the things that you cannot do, and be honest with yourself to do not to do them and to do the things that you need to do. And I wish you all the best making sense of your life and your reality. And I give thanks to Ali today for coming through. Thank you so
for
much.
having me.
Bless you for your amazing experience on earth, and I wish you all the best as you continue on it, and may you trip with your trip, because it is a trippy trip
Thank you, Michael.
for sure.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, G. This is Making Sense of Life and Reality.